Greetings and welcome to the latest episode of Legal Bites, the official podcast of Cummings and Cummings Law, where one of our primary focuses is on assisting businesses and their owners to redomesticate out of high tax, business unfriendly environments like Illinois to predictable pro entrepreneurship, pro growth jurisdictions like Florida and Texas. Today, I am reviewing a report by John Clark, writing for Stateline, dated August 13th, entitled Illinois Sees Surge in Business Losses, Ranks Second After California. But first, a brief introduction. My name is Chad Cummings, and I am an attorney and certified public accountant serving clients in matters of business, tax, and commercial law throughout the states of Florida and Texas. I am Chief Executive Officer of the multi-state, multi-attorney law firm Cummings and Cummings Law. And in addition to my day job, I also teach business and tax law at the university level. I hold 4 degrees, including 2 law degrees, as well as a bachelor's degree in accounting and a master's degree in taxation, in addition to 11 professional licenses and certifications covering accounting, tax, audit, and of course, the law. My firm website is www.cummings.law. Now, let's get to it. Illinois is bleeding businesses, and the numbers are getting worse. According to the Illinois Policy Institute, Illinois lost 218 large businesses to other states in 2023, and that being the most recent data we have available. That is triple the rate at which businesses left the state before the COVID-19 pandemic, and 2023 was not even the worst year. Losses peaked in 2022 at 260 large businesses. Between 1994 and 2023, Illinois lost over 2,600 large businesses to other states. The rate accelerated in 2017 and tripled again after 2020. California lost 533 large businesses in 2023. New York lost 278. Illinois came in second. And where are these companies going? Go west and south, young man. Florida gained the most businesses in 2023 at 503. Tennessee gained 158. South Carolina gained 149, and Texas gained 125. Remember, these are the most recent numbers we have available at this scale. I can tell you from my personal experience, these numbers are lagging quite a bit compared to what I've seen in my law practice. The report also identified the single largest factor driving businesses out of Illinois: an uncompetitive tax and regulatory environment. Now, let's talk about the solution, or at least the solution that works for many businesses, large and small. Redomestication is the legal process of transferring the home state of an existing company from one state, like Illinois, to another. You keep your federal employer identification number, you keep your contracts, you keep your bank accounts, you keep your credit history. In most cases, you keep your business name. The company that exists after the redomestication is the same legal entity that existed before. Nothing changes except the state where the company is domiciled. Think of it this way: you are the same person with the same spouse, with the same high school diploma or college degree, with the same children, whether you live in Chicago or Miami or Dallas or Sacramento. Same social security number, same bank account, same employment history. Redomestication works the same way for your business. The company moves and the company survives, and everything it built comes with it. Now, why do I emphasize that? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment, because some of the alternatives do not have those same benefits. The redomestication process is authorized under the statutes of Illinois and almost every state in the union in one form or another. It is a non-taxable reorganization under the Federal Internal Revenue Code. That's an important point. When an experienced attorney, emphasis on the word experienced, handles the filing, there is no gap in good standing, no disruptions to operation or finance, and no taxable event as far as the IRS is concerned. Now, the data are not ambiguous. Businesses are leaving Illinois at an accelerating rate, and the destination states share a common profile: no personal income tax, no traditional corporate income tax or very low tax rates, lower operating costs, and a pro business regulatory environment that favors entrepreneurship over bureaucratic red tape. States like Florida and Texas check every one of those boxes, but here is what makes the timing interesting. Several state legislatures, including in high tax jurisdictions like Illinois, are considering a variety of new wealth taxes, income taxes, capital gains taxes, and other impositions that could cost business owners tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. If you are waiting for the perfect moment to move your company, you are giving the state legislature more time to close the door. Redomestication, when coupled with a change of personal residence and a reduction or cessation of business activity in your prior state, can be an effective way to reduce or eliminate tax nexus in your former jurisdiction. That can yield lower taxes for the company and its owners. Now, the window is open, but it will not stay open forever. As always, I encourage you to get a second or third opinion. Don't just take my word for it, but recognize that a lot of CPAs and even a number of competent attorneys are, shall we say, less than familiar with the redomestication process. So do not be surprised if you get a blank stare. If you talk to your current attorney or CPA about moving your business to a new state, you might hear one of three recommendations. First, register as a foreign entity. Second, merge your company into a new one. Or third, dissolve and start fresh. All of these are inferior to redomestication under this set of facts. Let me explain why. Foreign entity registration, also sometimes confusingly referred to as foreign entity qualification, keeps your company domiciled in your prior state. You register in the new state, but you remain on the hook, so to speak, for taxes, filings, and annual reports in your prior jurisdiction. You now manage two compliance tracks instead of one, and you save nothing, you gain nothing. You just added some more paperwork to your plate. And the moment someone on your team misses a renewal or a notice in Illinois, you may face penalties, loss of good standing, and preventable disputes with banks, vendors, customers, and regulators. I'm not making this stuff up. Do your own homework. Foreign registration does not change your state of domicile. Rather, it is a half measure that creates permanent obligations in the state you are trying to leave. Many attorneys regrettably recommend foreign entity registration because they do not know that redomestication exists. And that's not a criticism. We all have our own areas of expertise. It's just a statement of fact. Redomestication is a fairly niche area of law. Many business attorneys have never handled one, and some have never even heard the term. Now, merger is another approach, but it's an old school approach in most cases. You form a new company in the destination state and you merge the old company into the new one. Notice my use of the words old and new. The old company ceases to exist. The surviving entity may require a new federal employer identification number, and you may trigger a taxable event under the Federal Internal Revenue Code, particularly if it is bungled. And I've seen a few of those. You may need to retitle assets, novate and renegotiate contracts, renegotiate customer and vendor agreements, and open new bank accounts. Legal fees for a simple traditional merger can reach $10,000 to $20,000 or more in some cases. Complex mergers can reach 6 or 7 figures. And if something goes wrong, you may not discover the error for years. Traditional merger as a means of redomiciling an existing business entity is largely a relic from before when redomestication statutes existed. It is usually slower, more expensive, and more risky than a redomestication in every measurable way. But in some rare circumstances, it still may be the correct approach. This is why you need an attorney to provide you with counsel. Now let's get to door number 3, dissolution, also sometimes referred to as termination or winding up. Dissolution is the worst option of all when you are attempting to relocate an existing business entity to a new state. Dissolution is the death penalty. It kills the company. There's nothing left for me to move. If you call me up and say, hey, Chad, I just dissolved my company. I'm ready to start my redomestication. I'll say, hey, I wish I could help you. But unfortunately, you've made a really serious mistake here because you lose your liability protection. You lose your credit history. You lose your contracts, and dissolving the company is often a breach of a contract in many cases. And if the IRS decides the dissolution was a taxable event, and it often is, you are writing a check to Uncle Sam and probably to your prior state as well. And if claims surface against the company after dissolution, those claims land on you, the owner, because the so-called veil of liability protection no longer exists. Dissolution has caused personal bankruptcies. I've seen it myself. It is the, as I like to say, business equivalent of burning down your house because you want to move to a new neighborhood. Unless you are truly going out of business and shutting your doors, dissolution should not enter the conversation. And if a professional is recommending dissolution as a relocation strategy, run. Do not walk out the door and seek a second and third opinion. The most important document in a redomestication, at least a correct redomestication, is that plan of conversion. Why do I say correct? Because all the time I'm on the phone with folks who are relying on Gemini and AI and Grok and their brothers, cousins, nieces, dog for advice. And I'm sitting here thinking, why are you doing that? You wouldn't do brain surgery on yourself if you didn't go to med school. So why would you practice law on yourself unless you went to law school and you were experienced in this particular area of law? That's not me being condescending. It's just observation of reality. But anyway, I've digressed. Let me try to stay on track for your benefit. As I was saying, the most important document in the redomestication process is the plan of conversion. You've got to have it. It's not optional. It is the foundational legal instrument that authorizes the change in domicile, specifies how ownership interests will be treated, and preserves the legal continuity of the company. Let me say that again. The plan of conversion is the operative document that preserves the legal continuity of the company. Without a plan of conversion, your filing with the Secretary or Department of State may have no legal effect, or worse, it may result in the unintentional dissolution of your company. I've seen that happen. I've worked on one just earlier today. LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer cannot prepare a plan of conversion. They are not attorneys. They do not owe you fiduciary duties. They have no track record on performing redomestications, and practicing law without a license is illegal in Florida and Texas. In Texas, it's a misdemeanor. In Florida, it's a third-degree felony. And the advice from ChatGPT and Gemini on this topic, to use a technical legal term, is flat out wrong. Save the do-it-yourself approach for home improvement. This is a complex legal transaction with federal and state tax implications, and it needs a licensed attorney. My law firm handles this process for a flat fee for companies with 10 owners or fewer. The entire intake and payment process takes less than 5 minutes at my website. The link is in the description. I personally prepare every document as an attorney and CPA. I file the documents in the correct order. We handle everything by DocuSign, and I send you weekly status updates by email until the transfer is complete. And I back it with a 120% money back guarantee if the Secretary of State fails to approve the redomestication and I am not able to fix it, which to date has never happened. We truly have a 100% success rate, not a 99.9%, a bona fide 100% success rate in redomestications where the client retained us at the outset rather than trying to figure it out on their own and then calling us after the fact. Don't do that. If you have questions regarding redomesticating your existing LLC or corporation, please use the link in the description for more information on this process and to schedule time for us to speak about your specific scenario. Again, my name is Chad Cummings, and I hope that you found this information useful. As always, the information in this presentation is general in nature and it is not legal advice because legal advice definitionally must be specific to a particular set of facts and circumstances. Should you have any questions regarding this information or the content of any of my earlier presentations, please visit my firm website at www.cummings.law, not .com, but .law, to schedule time for that consultation. And I look forward to the opportunity to speak with and perhaps even work with you very soon.